status and different background altogether. Many of you had so many things to say in the comment section below. Some of you were thinking about it as you were writing. Some of you had very strong opinions, and some of you were preaching about it. But I appreciate all the comments. And this week we're going to get into what you had to say. But before we get into the comments, I want to talk about religious freedom. What is religious freedom? Because that is a place where most of you got stuck or were still thinking about it or had mixed things to say when it came to talking about religious freedom. So if we have to define religious freedom, it is not about protecting a religion itself. It is about the individual's choice to practice a faith or religion, or it's also the choice not to practice a faith or religion. So religious freedom is about the individual's choice. It's not about a faith or a religion, it's about one person's choice. So there are two types to it. One is intra-faith. Intra-faith is when people from the same faith or the same religion, regardless of how they practice or how they exercise that faith, they might be different practices, they might be different traditions, different rituals that they follow to practice that faith. But regardless of that, when people of different practicing communities, different faith communities of the same base, they come together, that is what is called intra-faith. On the other side, we have interfaith or multi-faith. That is when people of different religions come together for the common good. For example, like alleviating poverty, to subdue some kind of unrest, or maybe to fight for climate change. So when different people of different communities of different faiths come together to solve a common good of the country, of the society, of the nation, that is called multi-faith, or that is called interfaith. So understanding this is vital before we get into the comments. So I hope you understand what religious freedom is, and defining that would have made sense to you now. Okay, let's get into the comments. The first one is by Sheba Jessie. She says, I think God himself accepts people irrespective of caste, creed, religion, etc. Friendship can be irrespective of these, as long as they don't pull us from the track. But in relationship, the respective potential should have a relationship with God so that they can motivate and encourage us when we are down. In fact, I think life partner means taking part in our ups and downs in our life and thriving us toward the loving God. The person in our relationship should help to have a relationship with God. Very nicely said. Princeland Selvaraj. When it comes with marital relationship with a person from different religion, it is a complete failure unless one or both of the partners are ready to sacrifice or adjust their faith. If so, you, the kids, and on one side of couple's parents and relatives will be happy, but the other parent and close relatives you will lose. You can do some religious practices which you are completely against. It's wise not to get tangled in this complex inter-religious relationship. If no choice, make sure either you or your partner is willing to sacrifice. When it comes to friends, you can always get along with people of any backgrounds because you can politely refuse or say no. So this is one thing that is very prevalent, when you get married to someone, especially in a marriage, especially when it's a union between people of different religions, from different faiths. One person has to give up, what faith they have come from, or else there are so many clashes and so many fights and so on. So he's talking about interfaith and how whether or not you should choose and what you should choose, what you should not choose. The next comment is from Alok Kirketa. Ideal girl or man would like to marry someone who respects and honors the opposite sex. There are many hot issues in news these days that has the potential to fracture the harmony between sexes. Mostly, there had been increased abuse against women, which is to be condemned. It is also required to have a balanced approach when dealing with each other, neither too much freedom nor too much possessiveness. Yes, when you don't know what religion or which faith or what you're practicing, what your beliefs are, or where you stand in your principles and standards, it is easy to be abused because you cannot speak up for what you believe and you cannot speak up for what you really want. So knowing that is really essential. The next is from Lady Spitfire. She says, I just made friends with a family from an Arabic speaking country. They are the kindest, most generous people I have ever met, and they don't have a lot because they are refugees. Our friendship started by acts of kindness for each other. What a gift from God they are to me and I to them. Be kind always. This is a beautiful comment. The next one is from Edwin Jebakumar. My opinion, both partners should give freedom to each other to practice what they want. Once you start respecting each other's thoughts, that will give a better way of understanding on how minds work differently. The next one is from Daisy C. John. In my perspective, for spreading peace is really simple. We have to love each other and expect nothing. I think this is all coming from thinking higher thoughts. We don't need to confuse about it. Yes, thank you all so much for your comments. You touched on different topics. Why I picked these comments was because they touched on different things, different aspects, while we have friendships with different people and get into relationships with different people. So in this day and age, when there's so much unrest, there are riots and protests, and it's time that we all get up and speak for the things that we believe in and fight for the things that we really want. But to do that and to bring change in our society or rules or policies or things in our country, we first have to know what we believe in, what our belief systems are, what our standards are, what our morals are, what our ethics are, what our principles are. So in order to do that, you have to take the time to think and ask questions and find out what do you really want and who you really are. When you do that, you will be able to speak up, you will be able to raise your voice, your opinion will be heard in our community, in our society, and in our nation. So take time to think about what your standards are and what your principles are. Raise your voice, speak up, let your opinion be heard. And thank you for doing that on Random Thoughts episodes. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for sharing your stories. And thank you for truly letting me know what you think and giving me a different perspective as well. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. As usual, go in the comment section and let me know what you think. Another episode is coming to you soon, and I will see you there.